So, are you ready to go
out there to Mars, out there to the stars? With me and Ron going out there, ain't nowhere to fall.
So, are you ready to go out there
to Mars, out there to the stars? When
Out
me and Jay
there.
go out there, ain't nowhere to fall.
Welcome everybody out there. This is Out There Show, where you can take you traveling to wherever you wanna go. Welcome everybody out there. This is Out There Show. We're trying to go as far as the wormhole goes.
Welcome everybody out there.
Welcome.
I'm Rob from the Out There Show,
I'm Jay from the Out There Show.
and we're here to talk to you about the latest news from the Pentagon and the latest news of UAPs and what's going on with these aerial phenomenons and these unidentified flying crafts.
That's right, and we also will be talking a little bit about ourselves after we give you that breaking news. And we will also kind of give you guys an update on the projects and other things we have going on with the show that you might want to support. So, are you ready to go out there? Segment 1, we're going to give you a little look into this new task force that's being formed. It's called the UAPTF. So a very long, unidentified aerial phenomenon task force.
Wow.
So it's a mouthful. I'm sure they made that way on purpose. Like, we do not want them to remember this. Like,
Why did they just call it the
UAPTF?
Space Force like they call it everything
Something
else?
simple, right?
Something
Like,
simple.
or stick with UFOs.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
want to rebrand it UAPs.
Yeah,
But again, that's harder to say and harder to remember
yeah,
than the good old UFO that we're all.
yeah. We all
We all know
confidently
and love, right?
Know and love.
So so let's get right into it. They sent out a memo on August 14th, 2020,
Yeah.
letting everybody know that basically, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna go ahead and read the memo for you guys. All right.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is, on August 4th, 2020, Deputy Secretary of Defense David L. Norquist
David Allen North.
approved the establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, or the UAP Task Force, or shortened UAPTF. So no matter which way you want to say it, it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
There's 3 ways to say it. None of them are easy.
Not indeed.
So, but yeah, the Department of the Navy, under the cognizance of the Office of the Undersecretary of the Defense for Intelligence and Security,
Wow.
will lead the UAPTF. Maybe I should say that one more time. Because again, this department
This department.
has an entire sentence as a name.
Yes.
Let's be serious here,
Yes,
right?
they do.
So here it goes. The Department of the Navy, under the cognizance of the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, will lead the UAPTF. I almost feel like we
You know what?
should
You
say
know,
that
I
again.
think
that is a
how you
mouthful.
said that. How you
Jesus
said
Christ.
that. How you said that. I think we need a bouncing ball and shit just to
Yeah.
go through like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. For how many
We're gonna
titles?
put that on the screen.
Yeah,
for
how
you
many
guys.
titles that these people have? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But whatever it is, they hunt UFOs. They hunt
Yeah.
identified flying.
So what it
objects.
boils down
That's
to
what they
is,
do.
this organization is buried under an organization that's buried under another organization that's buried under the Navy. So ultimately, this thing's under somebody who's under somebody who's
Yeah.
under somebody who's under the Navy.
Yeah, they should have just called it Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
They chase it, you know.
So again, they're not making it easy for you.
Yeah.
If you want to go like send them a letter, it's gonna say, to the Department of the Navy under the cognizance of the Office under the Undersecretary. So yeah.
Wow.
And then so to finalize this memo, they say the Department of Defense established the UAPTF to improve the understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of UAPs. The mission of the task force is to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to U.S. national security.
So, if they pose a threat to U.S. national security, ain't that a job for the Space Force to do? You know what I'm saying? They're dealing with space.
I'm surprised they didn't put this just under the Space Force.
I understand it. It made real simple.
But why the Navy?
Hey.
To me, the Navy
Hey,
sounds
man.
like they know that these things are not only in the air, but in the water too.
Exactly.
And the Navy does have jets and
Exactly.
subs. So maybe
So,
that's why it's under the
maybe,
Navy.
Maybe it's because they under the Navy because they done seen some underwater UAPs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which I think that David Fravor guy, the pilot,
Yeah.
mentioned that the thing was hovering over something that he thought something was under the water that it was communicating with.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, already by establishing this so closely with the Navy and the fact that most of these sightings do come out of the Navy.
Yeah.
Because most of these sightings happen over the ocean, where the only people to observe them are Navy people out there.
Well, they say they just released something about a spaceship that they just seen, shaped kind of like in a triangle type of shape manner or a globe type of shape manner. It was seen over San Diego.
Yeah, so let's go into that. So now that we've kind of introduced you guys to this newly formed task force,
Yeah, exactly.
let's go into what has this task force been up to.
Exactly.
Well, they've been releasing some things that they're looking at. Say, hey guys, here's something that we think is a thing,
Exactly.
and we're looking into it right now.
Exactly.
So, what's the first one that you mentioned that they're looking into right there?
Well, they're looking into something that happened in San Diego. They have something through night vision with a USS Russell, which appears to show moving about the sky.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Right over San Diego. So when they seen those, they quickly reported it, to the Pentagon, and the Pentagon, got the information and made the release. And this happened in July of 2019. So this was, something that was over the skies, that was flying fast, right over the shores of San Diego.
Yeah.
And it was seen by, military people. And the report came back to the Pentagon. And these new people that hunt or look for area things like the Space Force. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. You know what I'm saying? Instead of all the other names they may have.
UAPTF.
Yeah, UAPTF.
Yeah.
Maybe. They put out these type of reports. But at least we have somebody or some type of unit that's actually looking into these things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of my big questions that I had from previous shows, and one thing that I've talked about before, is I said, look, why aren't they making more of a big deal out of this?
Yeah.
If these are aliens,
Yeah,
then they should be worried about our national security.
exactly.
And I remember saying that, right?
Exactly.
But I said, well, maybe if it's our own military craft, they're not going to want to look too far into it, and they're not going to be too worried about it.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of me having to eat my words in a way, because here they go, and they establish a task force to look into it and determine if it poses a national security risk. So I do think that in and of itself says that, hey, maybe some of these aren't our own secret military, and maybe they are somehow somebody else's, whether that somebody else is another country or whether that somebody else is actually extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
And so I think that, to me, that goes a long way to confirm that some of these, legitimately, they don't know what they are.
Yeah, for real.
And they really do want to look into them.
Right, for real.
So that's kind of deep. I like that. I mean, I just think I can't say I like it. I'll just say I think it's an interesting piece of information. Like, I just like that I found out about this task force, because it gave me a new insight. Like, okay, well, here they are, August 2020. They're looking into this. And here, this footage was only acknowledged by the Pentagon, I think, on April 7th, and it was only reported to the news just recently, like this last week.
Exactly.
So this is all breaking news for us, but they've been looking into it since they started the task force.
Exactly.
Because this footage is actually, like you said, from July of 2019.
If they've been looking into it and they started the task force a little while back, then they already had something that was definitely in the skies that they would have to want to start a task force for.
Well, not only that, I think for this footage to be from this particular, the triangle footage. For that particular footage to still be an issue for them, because it's from July of 2019, and they've had it and been looking into it since they started the task force in August of 2020. So here we are several months later in April, 6 months later, and they're releasing this. So to me it says, hey, their investigation said, well, this is a little more than nothing, but because they didn't just dismiss it, right? They took 6 months and they couldn't dismiss it as just reflections or some other thing. So it is, to them, it's still something. They don't know what it is, and it's still worthy of them continuing to investigate. So I think that is very interesting, and the same with the other footage that we're going to talk about. But I just think, this particular one, for it to still be an issue for them after 6 months of Pentagon investigating it, they got access to all the forensics known to man. I mean,
all the satellites,
and they
all
still
the
think
cameras.
like, hey, this is something that was something. I think it's very, very interesting, man. So this is another one, along with the David Fravor FLIR one, along with Gimbal, along with Go Fast. This is another one that I'm like, wow, that's some crazy technology, and they want to know what it is too.
Exactly.
And
the thing about it is I like the acknowledgement of it. At least they acknowledge there's something out there. That they have to create a group to go look into something out there. And maybe it can help society, or maybe it hurts society. Either way, they want to know and figure out what is it going to do. So obviously it ain't hurting society right now. It's helping society. People are enjoying talking about it, looking at it, you know what I'm saying, seeing how they're amazed is about it, and how truthful that the government is being about it, the Pentagon, releasing these footage and these things to letting the average people know that, hey, there's something out there. And if you look in the skies and you got a good camera, you maybe can catch something out there.
And look, don't take our word for it. We're the messengers. We're just here to bring you the info and just bring it to your consciousness. It's up to you to go ahead and take that and do further investigation and say, hey, I think these guys are full of shit. Hey, I think that there's something to this. I mean, that's for you to do. I did that myself. I come into it really skeptical, but you look at the evidence and you say, the same evidence I'm looking at, the Pentagon's looking at, other experts looked at, they're just as mystified as I am. So it's real hubris, and it's really, blissful thinking to just write things off without going a little more deep into it and try to actually find out some truth for yourself, because the truth is out there.
Yes, it is.
We might not have access to it right now. The Pentagon might not be able to figure it out right now. But there is a truth, and it is out there.
It is out there.
And the more heads thinking about it and the more eyes looking into it, it's a chance that we may stumble across something. Right?
It is. Yes,
so I think this is something that has not been acknowledged, like he said. For them to even do these task force and acknowledge these things and put it out there and say, hey, this is real footage, period.
Exactly.
This is a real mystery, period.
Exactly.
That's full stop. This is a mystery, full stop. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a mystery. Period. So let's just look at it like that.
Well, the main thing I like to say is, when official people make official judgments and they put out things, you know, you get an official look at what they're looking at. A lot of people, you know, they can doctor footage, or people take things with their own camera. Some people say it's good or not, or if it's real or not. But if some officials say, hey, this is really footage, you know.
Yeah, this was taken by a Navy jet.
Exactly.
It's only been handled by military people.
Hey.
Every like place that this footage has gone has been, you know, written down, documented. It's been tracked. There's no place for someone to have doctored this footage between it getting out of that jet and it getting into the hands of these Pentagon investigators. And again, this footage was released by the Pentagon.
Yeah.
They say, hey, here's footage, it's real. Now, some of that footage was already out there from having been unofficially released.
Exactly.
But you can't trust that. Somebody could have doctored it.
Anybody.
But if the Pentagon released it, that's footage.
That's some footage.
You know, that's just some evidence that you can use in a trial. You know.
Yeah.
So that would stand up in court.
Exactly.
So that's very. It's good, like you said, to get that acknowledgement. I will say that. I agree. You know.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about a recent thing about photos captured by a weapons systems officer.
That's being investigated by the UAPTF.
And it happened on March 4th, 2019. So think about it. A sphere, an acorn, and the other one was a metallic blend.
Interesting.
So they all had different type of shapes. And they were three
they all
flying
had
together.
The same metallic look to them.
Yes.
Interesting. And
So
the pictures that I'm seeing, like that metallic look looks almost more like a distortion or something.
That is just crazy for some officer to go out there and take a picture of three separate UFO vehicles flying together in sequence. It's almost like a galactic command meeting where all these UFOs coming from different spaces, and they send out some people to check the land out, and they send off one person from each squad, and they all flying together in sequence, but their spaceships is different.
Well, you know what I think is interesting about this one? Just like the last one, right?
Yeah.
It's from 2019.
Yeah.
So again, they've had 6 months to look at this footage and these pictures.
Yeah.
Since, you know, it's been, you know, the pictures are over a year old.
Yeah.
But this task force is from August. And so they've had 6 months to look at this, at these pictures. And again, they haven't been able to rule them out. They haven't been able to dismiss them. To them, this is another real actual mystery. Like, what were these things? We had nothing in the sky at that time.
Exactly.
These things aren't matching anything that we could even conceive of as being in the sky at that time.
Exactly.
So, you know, again, genuine mysteries here. These are ones that, you know, we want to look more into. We're going to be watching closely as they reveal more of their investigation, obviously. But yeah, this is another situation where, again, people got to keep hammering on with these FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests. You know, people got to keep hammering them with these requests because that's what's keeping them honest. That's what's making them release these type of things. And not to mention that it seems like there's an uptick in activity.
For me, I've never heard of spaceships flying in sequence together that were different shapes. You know, I've heard of spaceships flying, or UFOs or unidentified flying objects flying together in sequence, but they were all of the same shape. But this is the first time myself of hearing spaceships flying in sequence, and they were all different shapes.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
what
I'm saying? That's kind of interesting.
But again, this was taken from the cockpit of a FA-18 jet.
So, you know, we got footage from a cockpit.
Again, another Navy jet here.
A Navy jet.
And again, this task force was established under somebody who's under the Navy, right?
Okay.
So
So maybe this task
Something
force is
going on
out
here
there
with the
in the Navy, is sitting on them ships out there, and they're flying around in the FA-18s, and they're going flying around, and they seeing these things while they're flying around.
Like,
Now
to me, clearly, right? The Navy has clearly the biggest connection to this UFO, UAP phenomenon out of anybody. All of these sightings that they've admitted to come from the Navy, from Navy pilots, Navy, seamen. And so I think some kind of connection, and then the fact that, again, this is under the undersecretary who's under the Navy.
It's something to this Navy.
It makes sense, because look, the Navy is what? Out there in all the oceans, which
in the
are
deep
really
sea.
The most sky that there is over the oceans.
And there's
because
nothing
there's more
out
ocean
there.
than land, right?
Yeah.
So these things are out there and they think no one's watching. Or that's where the fewest people are watching.
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes sense, and that's where the skies are the darkest. There's no cities, no street lights, nothing. So the skies are the darkest, and there's really not that many jets flying over as there are flying over the land.
Exactly.
So anything in that sky stands out.
Yes, it does.
So I think that kind of makes sense why the Navy would have over the years collected the most data on this.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they're right there.
They're right there.
Where everything happens. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like things happen by the Bermuda Triangle. On these ships and boats that was close by there that made it out of there, heard stories of things happening, anomalies and things over there. So I feel like, if they're out there in the middle of the sea, quiet nights, clear skies, everything is calm.
That's what we need to talk to. We need to talk to retired Navy folks, seamen, Navy pilots, these type of people. I'm sure.
So if you're a retired Navy pilot or you're a retired
Navy folks, seamen, Navy pilots, these type of people, I'm sure.
So if you're a retired Navy pilot or you're a retired Navy SEALsman, or you worked on the Navy ship and you're retired and you would like to talk to us about your experience about being on the ship and seeing something in the sky or overhead, or just hearing some reports. Maybe you was hanging with your mates and y'all were eating or something, and a couple of pilots came back and they started talking amongst each other about some wild stories. And you heard these wild stories and you probably thought they were fictional stories. Well, we would like to hear those stories, whether they're fictional or not. We would like to see what's going on up there. We'd like to see what the vibe is, and what's the inner scoop of the aerial phenomenons that people have been seeing.
Yeah, and if you have any more insight for us as to why this task force is so closely connected to the Navy and why so many Navy pilots are reporting these things and so many other Navy people. If you have any more insight beyond what we said about just you guys roaming those big old oceans and big old skies, let us know. If there's something more to it. Maybe it's because you guys have access to the most radar. That's another one, right?
Exactly.
But I think that outside of this breaking news that we just gave you guys, that I think you guys and us should definitely look more into. We'll definitely be doing that in future episodes. Outside of that, I think we wanted to kind of change course a little bit. And we've been getting a lot of questions from people who ask us, different things about us and about the show and, how we got started and all these things and why we do what we do. So we thought we would take a couple of the top questions and talk a little bit about us and a little bit about the show and kind of bring you guys in here, right? As we always going out there. And we'll bring you guys in here a little bit. So we'll just go through some questions, right? And this is really questions people have asked us. And we can say, hey, well, let's just answer it one good time for you guys.
Exactly. So one good question that they be asking us out there, how did me and Jay meet?
Yeah.
You know,
Like, how do you guys know each other?
well, we met through mutual friends, and it was about doing music and constructing a label that he was working on at the time.
Yeah.
And so we were helping each other musically, and we're also on some musical songs that date way back 10 at least a decade or more ago.
So yeah,
you know?
me and Ra definitely been knowing each other a long time. Like you said, we met through mutual friends. We're all in the music business. We still do music. You know, first love. We're never gonna stop doing music. But
Exactly.
yeah, I think you know that's really the beginning of it. And like he said, I had a record label, Wild Style Records, at the time, and you know, we were doing some collaborations, and yeah, that's pretty much how we met, through the music, guys.
Exactly.
Um,
And another thing, a question that they ask us a lot: why are we doing the alien show? Like, why don't we talk about something else that's out there instead of aliens,
talk
or
about
UFOs,
music,
or you know,
or
what is our infatuation with UFOs or something that's unidentified that's out there, you know?
yeah. I mean, and you know, people always ask me like, you know, hey, why don't you talk about music? Since you guys do music and y'all met through music, or why don't you guys talk about the culture?
Yeah.
Or why don't you guys talk about, whatever's in the news right now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, for us, we wanted to do something fun, I think.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we always talk about this anyway.
Exactly.
Right? It's like we draw other people into it.
Exactly.
We get other people talking about it. We figured, you know,
Yeah.
we'll start talking about it. We'll get a whole room of people talking about
Exactly.
it. And we figured, hey, you know, we might as well just do this on the show.
And we wanted to be the first to do it. You know, a lot of people that hang out every day and have mutual friends, and they talk and they have conversations all the time about what's going on in the universe, what's going on in space. Have they seen anything different or any anomalies happening in the world? And people, you know, are interested in hearing stuff like that. And also talking about stuff like that and researching stuff like that and seeing how they can help us globally. We're going through this global warming thing, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to figure out how we can help us as a whole on this planet.
Yeah,
we're trying to see what's out there.
And you know, one of the big things, honestly, that made us start this show about this topic is that, like I said, we talked about it a lot. A lot of our friends and our homies and all that talk about it. But you don't see a lot of people like us talking about these topics on TV or on podcasts.
Exactly.
We're always watching it.
Yeah.
We're talking about it amongst ourselves. But you don't see a lot of people like us who are actually out there talking about this, you know, having their own show about it and bringing it to the people and making it kind of more understandable for our culture and for like a more urban culture. And so I figured, you know, we love it. We talk about it a lot. Everybody I know has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
But we're just not really represented a lot. So that's another thing that made us decide to do this show.
Exactly. And another question they used to ask us is, when we got it started on aliens, what initially started us off? Well, what initially started us off is he had his own show going, and I came on his show discussing about things that were going on in the community. And we noticed that we had a similar view. He had his view, and his view was different than my view. But those views together created a type of field of knowledge and awareness and of seeking something out there. So we met up again and had another show. And the show was a great show as well. So we thought that from these shows that we can create a better show. So we seen this chair that I had, and Jay had came up with an idea. He said, man, if we had 2 of those chairs, that'd be nice to do a show like that. So I contacted a couple of people, and sure enough, they had some of these replicas of King Tut's chairs in their warehouse. So I was able to purchase some of these chairs, and now we have these in the studio.
Yeah, I remember that.
And also,
because you had initially just the one chair, right?
Yeah. Initially, it was just one throne
Yeah.
that I had looked for buying for myself, so I can do this one music video that I was trying to portray as a king on the throne. But it came into knowing my culture, knowing about ancient aliens, how they're connected to Egyptian and all ancient societies. And I said that would be great to do a show to connect us and all our ancestors and everybody together, what's out there and what's seen and unseen and what we know all together into one show. So
yeah, so that's a great segue, bro. Because another one of the big questions that people give me in particular is they say, man, where did you get the Egyptian theme from, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just say, like, the Egyptian theme, I have to give credit to Ra, man. Like, he's the one that really has been keyed into that whole history of the Egyptian, the dynasties and hieroglyphics and all this art and styles. Ra's been into that stuff for years,
Right.
And I just happened to see that gold chair and, think, okay, if there was two of them, that might be something. But I was still skeptical until we actually filmed it the first time.
Exactly.
Then I was like, man, those things are amazing.
Exactly.
So, it definitely, that's where the Egyptian theme comes from. Ra is Egyptian, so.
Yeah. So it kind of took a life in the form of itself. We set it up one time, straight up together. Now, as you can see, we have it set up in a more lounge formation where they're a little bit spread apart, where we can see more of the green screen behind us, because we're trying to actually show you actually what's out there, and we want to get people engaged into what's going on out there. So if there's any sightings out there, we want to show those sightings out there. Any new anomalies in the sky.
That's another perfect segue to another question that I get a lot, which is, do you plan to go out there more often, right? To actually go out there on location at different places?
Yes, we do plan to go out there. We have an out there location. It's called the Battle of Los Angeles. And we found out where the location of where it happened at. And we'll be going out there, and we'll be probably out there metal detecting, trying to find out if we can find some pieces of this spaceship or pieces of the scrap metal that was shot in the sky at the spaceship during the times that it broke off the force field, and maybe those scrap metals and pieces came back, or a piece of the shield came down, or a piece of the actual spaceship came down, and maybe we can find it and we can catalog it, and maybe it gives off a certain type of radiation, or it's a certain type of metal that's unknown to this earth. But we're trying to see what's out there.
So we definitely do plan to do that one.
Yeah.
The other one we plan to do is, we have to do a trip to Area 51, obviously.
Yes, we do.
So, we're definitely going to do that, to pay homage, and to also to look for some land out there.
Yes. We're also scoping out some land near Area 51. So we got our GoFundMe page up, and we need a certain type of funding so we can go out there and scope out a piece of land, so we can buy a piece of land to set up an out there outpost where we're going to have a satellite, and you can actually come out and visit and look through the satellite and see if you can see something out there. You'll call the Out There show and schedule some visits, and we'll actually go out there and we'll actually do some sky searching and see what's out there.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have we're gonna have a satellite link to basically a high-powered camera, high-zoom camera that we'll be able to view remotely, or go out there and view out there as well. We'll also have some telescopes out there for people to do the sky viewing, like you mentioned.
Exactly.
So that's one thing that we're trying to do. Another thing that we plan on doing is going to Hollywood and doing interviews with people. We're just going to set up a stand right there on Hollywood Boulevard with a couple banners, and we're going to have a microphone. We'll have one of our Out There Show ladies out there. She's going to be out there basically reporting. She's going to do interviews, street interviews, and just ask people, hey, have you had an alien encounter?
Exactly.
Have you do you believe in aliens?
Exactly.
Have you had any kind of experience with it? And what do you think about it? So we'll be getting a lot of opinion from just random people walking around in Hollywood.
Yes,
So that's another thing we plan to go out there and do.
Mm-hmm. And we want to see what your opinion is out there, because everybody has their own opinion out there. Sometimes we have skeptical opinions. Sometimes it looks real. Sometimes it doesn't look real. But hey, it's lovely to see something out there and enjoy something that you don't see every day. That's out of the norm.
So let's another question that I get from folks very often is, do you guys have anything else going on with the Out There Show you want to tell us about? And so other than the land that we plan on getting and setting up the Out There post out there by Area 51, we also plan on doing a couple other things. So one of the things we plan on doing is basically we have a design for basically free energy kind of standalone air purifiers. And these aren't just air purifiers for your house. No, these are, block size, city block size, small town size air purifiers. And they don't require any energy. The basic materials are concrete and some filters, right? You would need to change out the filters.
Yes.
But definitely this is something that can be built to clean the air outside, right?
We're trying to help everybody out there. And if we can help everybody out there by creating these clean air devices, maybe we can reverse this global warming. We can reverse these diseases and these things that are floating in the air that's causing people to get sick. And everybody won't have to walk around with masks on and be scared that they're breathing in the wrong type of substance.
And there's been a couple prototypes built out in China that they have successfully been able to build one. I believe it was maybe 100 feet tall, maybe 10 foot wide. But this thing was able to clean the air for, I think they said, 4 square miles. So it significantly reduced the pollution in the air for 4 square miles, and it doesn't require any power in the design. So we definitely are trying to get a project going where we go to different cities and try to get these set up in parks. So we want to build a couple prototypes just to show that it's working and that we can do that. And once we have those prototypes, we'll be looking to reach out to different local cities and municipalities to see if we can get these installed in some parks. So that's something else that you guys can support us on as we try to get these prototypes together.
Exactly. Because mainly, we're trying to help everybody out there by creating these clean air devices and putting them in places where people congregate most. So the air can be clean all around you, where you breathe in, and you can be around people and communicate with people without any trouble.
Yeah, like one of the places that I think would be perfect for it are parks in downtown areas, like Central Park in New York, MacArthur Park in downtown LA, where they're surrounded by all this industry and all these cars and all this smog downtown. And yet you have a park there where kids are supposed to play. So if you have these air purifiers there, then they'll be keeping that park very clear and clearing out the surrounding city that surrounds the park as well. So
And
that's
not only
something that we really want to do, really honestly, for the kids and for the future.
exactly. So we're just trying to help people on a global manner deal with what's going on out there in society. Keep things more cleaner, the air, our hands where we touch things, all right, and also keep the air cooler in the air because it cleanses the air and actually reverses this global warming that we're going through. Because I know it's getting hotter every summer and seems it's getting colder every winter. So let's try to turn this thing around. Let's help us, help you, help the Out There Show, and we will help everybody out there by creating these devices that's going to clean your air. Call us, contact the Out There Show.
One thing I really do like about this particular device is it's just a demonstration of another way of doing things.
Exactly.
Sometimes, it's not the thing that's most high tech or that consumes a lot of electricity. Sometimes we can try to design things so that just the design of it is what gives it its function and gives it its utility, rather than trying to force something by throwing some motors in it and all these other things. And that's really the beauty of this filter design, is that it literally just uses the property of hot air rising, like the natural property that hot air rises, in order to filter this air, because you get the hot air to rise up and it's going to filter up through the filter, come out clean up top, and spread out throughout the city. And so I think it's a very elegant, very simple, very natural design. And you set one of these things up, provided that you clean the filters every so often, it'll last 100 years, 200 years. They're built out of concrete.
Exactly.
They're so simple and cheap to build. And just, again, they're building them out in China in a lot of their city centers. And there is a significant impact of particle reduction in the air. So, that's something that's been studied, documented, and, we need to start doing things like that out here.
And when we build our first ones out there, and we go to some of the communities, we go to some of the parks, we go to some of the recreation centers, we go to some of the places where people mostly congregate, and we set up these devices. It's not just going to help me, it's going to help you, and it's going to help the atmosphere and the earth itself. So help us, help you, help the whole community, people out there. Take to our GoFundMe, subscribe to us, listen to everything out there. If you see something out there, take a video of it, send it into the Out There Show, and maybe you can be part of the Out There Show of finding something out there and being the first one to really locate it and give it a name, and and let it not be unidentified no more.
And let me say this to you guys, whether you love the show, hate the show, think that you love our outfits, think that you want to see our shoes, leave us a comment, let us know. We want to hear from you guys, whatever you have to say, good, bad, or ugly.
Exactly.
Go ahead and leave it in the comment, let us know what you think.
And this show, we made it family friendly. We want your whole family to sit here and watch the show and listen to the show and vibe with the show, because we are here to show that there's something out there for everybody, and everybody can be a part of it. So when we see something out there and we locate something out there, we're here to show it to the people, and we're here to give it directly to you. Please subscribe, go to the GoFundMe,
and leave a comment.
and check out our merchandise. Check out our shirts, check out our hats, and we're a part of the Out There Show. And please promote us and get us out there, because we want to be out there for you like you are out there for us. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'm Rob from the Out There Show.
I'm Jay.
So, are you ready to go out there?
Hello everybody out there. I'm Kalisa Rose, and today I'm your Out There Show Weather Lady host. Today there are clear skies, no clouds, just a couple of UFO sightings. You know, the usual. So until next time, I'll see you